Hello and welcome to Faithfully Speaking, where faith finds a voice and God's truth changes lives. Because when we stop agreeing with the world and start agreeing with Jesus, everything changes. Welcome back to Watch Your Mouth. Watch Your Mouth is a mini-series about the power of our words and the condition of our hearts. Together we're learning how the things we speak over ourselves, over our finances, over our future, over our marriages, and over our children can either agree with fear or align with the truth of Jesus. In episode 1, we asked the question, what are you agreeing with? In episode 2, we asked, what are you rehearsing? God's provision or your challenges? In episode 3, we asked a powerful question, would Jesus say that about you? Today we're talking about one of the most important relationships in our lives, our marriages. And today's question is simple again. What are we speaking over our marriages? Let's think about the words that get spoken in our home. Not in public, not in front of our friends, not on social media, in private, in our home, behind closed doors. You never listen, you always do this and that, this is never going to change, this is never going to get better, or maybe even saying things like, we're just not the same anymore. I'm not a marriage expert, but I do believe that most marriages don't fall apart in one day or because of one event. They slowly weaken through repeated words. So today I want us to think about this question together. What are we speaking of our marriages? The truth is, many of us can remember hurtful words spoken years ago. Words that criticized, words that belittled, words that assumed the worst. These words have a way of staying with us. But I also do believe that the opposite is true as well. Words of encouragement stay with us too. Words of appreciation stay with us too. Words of kindness stay with us too. The dynamic of a marriage is often built one conversation at a time. One thing that my husband and I have always been very intentional about is how we speak to each other. Are we perfect? Of course not. We've had disagreements, we've had frustrating moments. We do have conversations where we see things differently. But we've always understood that there is a difference between addressing a problem and attacking a person. Because once words are spoken, they can't be taken back. And we've never wanted to win an argument in expense of hurting one another. The main message today is our marriages are listening to our words. Words don't simply disappear. They settle. They shape trust. They shape emotional safety. They actually shape the atmosphere of our home. Something else that I also like to keep in mind is that we are either watering our marriages or we are slowly wearing them down. And I know that sounds a bit harsh maybe, but I don't think there's a neutral zone around that. It's either one or the other. Every conversation is either building connection or creating distance. We may say, you never change, you always do this is never going to work. But Jesus teaches us something different. Love speaks differently. Love chooses words that build instead of breaks. And love chooses patience over accusation. Love chooses grace over criticism. And last, love chooses truth spoken in love. Because this doesn't mean that we ignore the challenges, we ignore the problems. It means we address them without destroying each other. There's a difference between honesty and criticism. That I also had to learn, and I'm still learning. It's interesting that Jesus never used truth as a weapon, and neither should we. Because our spouses are not the enemy. They're not. The problem is the problem. Our spouse is not. We can address a problem without attacking a person, and that goes for every relationship. We can address a problem without attacking a person. That one decision can really change the dynamic of our marriage. Let's take an honest look of our words this week. When we talk about our marriages, what are we rehearsing? When we talk to our spouse, how are we making them feel? What are we reinforcing? And what are we repeating? Are our words building connection or creating distance? And are they bringing life into our marriages? And obviously, let's do that with no guilt, with no shame, but just with a lot of awareness. So this is the challenge for this week. Let's be aware and let's pay attention how we speak to our spouses, how we speak about our marriages. When we feel frustrated, let's just pause and ask ourselves, is this building or breaking? Is this building connection or creating distance? And then let's choose our words wisely. Words that encourage each other, words that communicate appreciation, words that create connection. Something simple, something small, because small words spoken consistently can have a very powerful impact in our marriages. Healthy marriages aren't built by perfect people. They are built by people who choose grace, respect, forgiveness, and intentional communication. We don't need perfect words, but we do need intentional ones. Because what we speak of our marriages, we are helping shape. So let's choose words that build, that encourage, and most importantly, let's choose words that reflect the love of Jesus. Thank you so much for joining me for Faithfully Speaking today. If this message encouraged you, please make sure to like it, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Until next time, keep speaking truth, keep walking in faith, and keep faithfully speaking. Bye.